Since the FERC relicensing settlement agreement back in the early 90s, minimum flows have been established in the river for the purpose of protecting the ecology, the fish populations and the other critters that live here. So that has certainly benefited the fish populations as well as the macroinvertebrate communities that occur here in the river, but it's not to say that there is no effect of the dams on the ecology of the river. But that being said, you could make arguments in either direction as far as there being a beneficial effect or as far as there being a detrimental effect. We know, for example, that below Fife Brook Dam, the constant water temperatures support recreational trout fishery that probably otherwise wouldn't be there if there wasn't a bottom release that allowed the release of cool water year-round. As opposed to that, because of the very regularly fluctuating water levels, that imposes a stress on both the fish and the macroinvertebrate communities that wouldn't occur here naturally. And we've engaged in some work in recent years that has demonstrated that the communities below, for example, the Fife Brook Dam, the benthic communities, the aquatic insects and other critters that live there, they do in fact differ from those that occur in the unhydromodified tributaries and even those that occur further downriver from Fife Brook Dam.
The biggest change that's happened since the relicensing is the deregulation of power generation. And so by deregulating, there's now more of a competitive market for power, which means that they treat the river a little differently. They have to be a little more careful about what information they give out. They sometimes turn it on or off more randomly to us, to try to follow the spikes in demand.
Deregulation has essentially opened up the power supply to retail competition. And so as such, the power companies can generate electricity and release water to do so several times a day. Basically, whenever there's a demand, they can release water. So as opposed to when the FERC relicensing settlement agreement was reached that established a flow schedule, since deregulation with the ability now or the liberty to generate power and release at will, fly fishermen will find that when they go to the upper river in the evening in the earlier midsummer, rather than having low flows that were guaranteed under the relicensing settlement agreement, they now get up there and they're releasing water because they are generating power at that particular time because of the demand. Hot summer evening, there's a spike in the demand for power. So some fishermen who know the river well, that have fished it for a while, will argue that with that change in particular, there has been a decrease in the hatch activity that fly fishermen in particular would tend to key in on.